Welcome to your personalized deep dive here on the Goated Clips channel. We're about to unpack what looks set to be, well, a really fascinating summer 2025 European football transfer window.
Yeah, absolutely. You've sent over some great insights, and we've boiled it down to the essentials for you.
Think of this as your cheat sheet, really. Understanding the huge potential for player movement, the financial tightrope clubs are walking.
And that surprising impact of the new Club World Cup, right, on the timing of everything.
Exactly. So we'll unpack the key factors driving this potential frenzy, the official dates you really need to know, and of course those headline-grabbing player sagas already brewing.
Our mission is basically to equip you with the knowledge to navigate all the news and discussions with confidence, without getting totally lost in speculation.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What's really setting the stage for this potentially explosive transfer window?
Well, it's a convergence of a few key things. You've got the usual suspects, the elite clubs looking for that squad rejuvenation, new blood, new tactics.
But it feels maybe a bit more significant this year. Some sources hint at major transformations, not just tweaking.
I think so too. And adding fuel to that fire is this unusually large pool of really high-profile free agents, players whose contracts are up in June 2025.
Right, that immediately creates opportunities. Big names available for no transfer fee,
No.
but then massive competition for them, presumably.
Exactly. Intense competition. And then you layer on the ambition from those clubs just bubbling under, trying to break into that absolute top tier they want to challenge.
That ambition definitely drives spending. But
Yeah.
hanging over all of this is the financial reality, isn't it? FFP, PSR, and the Premier League.
Yeah, financial fair play and the profitability and sustainability rules, they add a serious layer of complexity. Clubs can't just spend endlessly.
It's that tightrope walk we mentioned. Even with the Premier League's huge wealth, there's this balancing act. Spending big versus staying compliant.
That's the core tension. We're probably going to see clubs needing to be, let's say, more strategic about selling players first, generate funds, clear wages, then buy.
It adds a whole strategic game within the game, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, so you've got this already busy backdrop, and then bang, the game changer arrives. The expanded FIFA Club World Cup in the U.S., summer 2025.
Right. This feels like it could really disrupt the normal flow of the transfer window.
Definitely. It's a huge tournament now, 32 teams, June 15th to July 13th. And the prize money is significant, potentially up to, what, £97 million for the winner? That's a massive incentive.
Huge money.
Yeah.
But the transfer window impact comes from how FIFA's handling registration for it, yeah.
Exactly. FIFA's created this exceptional registration period, basically an early window just for the clubs playing in the tournament, could even be whole leagues involved.
An early window, so potentially June 1st to June 10th. And the big hitters involved are Chelsea, City, Real Madrid, Inter, Juve, PSG.
Yeah, those are the confirmed European ones so far. And getting players in early like that is a big strategic plus.
How so? Just getting them integrated sooner.
Yeah, imagine getting a key signing bedded in during that pre-tournament prep. It's invaluable time for them to learn the system, get to know teammates. Huge advantage.
And I suppose it lets them maybe steal a march on rivals, secure top targets before the main window even properly opens.
That's the theory. Avoid some of the later bidding wars and maybe inflated prices. Get your business done early.
There was that specific example mentioned, wasn't there? Real Madrid and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, reports suggest Real are really pushing to sign Alexander-Arnold, whose Liverpool deal is up June 30th specifically to have him registered and ready for that Club World Cup.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That perfectly shows how this could create like a two-tiered market. Club World Cup teams operating faster.
It really could. And it raises questions, how do the clubs not in it respond? Do they feel pressure to rush their own deals once the main window opens?
Fascinating knock-on effects potentially. Okay, so that's the early CWC window. What about the main window dates across Europe? There's been a move towards harmonization, hasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. The trend is for most major leagues to close around the same time, which looks like Monday, September 1st for 2025. The Premier League's confirmed they'll align with that.
And September 1st is just because the 31st is a Sunday, right? Practicality.
Exactly, just shifting it to the next working day.
Okay, let's break down the specifics then, league by league, including how this CWC stuff fits in. Premier League first.
Right, so England. Early CWC window, June 1st to 10th. And interestingly, that's open to all Premier League clubs, not just City and Chelsea.
Oh, okay. So even clubs not going to the U.S. could do early business.
Seems so. Then the main window reopens June 16th, closes September 1st.
Got it. What about La Liga in Spain? Real Madrid are involved.
Spain's main window is July 1st to September 1st. They have an optional early CWC window, June 1st to 10th, because Real Madrid are participating.
Optional, okay. And Serie A, Inter, and Juve are in the CWC.
Italy has an early CWC window just for Inter and Juve running June 1st to June 20th, slightly longer early period for them. Main window is July 1st to September 1st.
Interesting variation. Germany, the Bundesliga.
Bundesliga is pretty straightforward. Early CWC window June 1st to 10th. Main window July 1st to September 1st.
And finally, Ligue 1 in France, with PSG involved.
France also has an early CWC window just for PSG, June 1st to 10th. Their main window reopens a bit earlier, June 16th, and then closes September 1st, like the others.
Right. Now, you mentioned something about a phantom week in the Premier League, June 11th to 15th. What's that about?
Yeah, it's a bit of a quirk. It comes down to how Premier League rules on window length interact with FIFA's separate exceptional registration period for the CWC.
So the normal Prem window rules mean there's a brief pause after that early CWC period.
Essentially, yeah. The early CWC registration doesn't count towards the standard 12-week Premier League window duration, so there's this short gap before the main window officially reopens on the 16th.
Any real impact? Or just an admin thing?
Probably mostly admin. A chance to finalize paperwork on deals agreed earlier. Maybe slightly delays formal registration for players coming into the Prem from leagues like La Liga, whose windows open later, even if the deal's done. But it's short.
Okay, got it. Right, let's shift gear. The really juicy stuff, potential player moves, the big sagas, and it feels like strikers were front and center this summer.
Oh, absolutely. Demand for top number nines is always fierce, but this year feels like it could really shake things up. A proper striker carousel.
Let's start with Victor Osimhen at Napoli. Seems nailed on he's leaving.
All the signs point that way. Relationship with the club reportedly done. Release clause around 75 million, which is less than it was.
Still a lot of money, though. Who's in the mix? Premier League clubs.
Yeah, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United have all been strongly linked. But the sticking point seems to be his wage demands reportedly around 12 million net per year. That's hefty.
That definitely limits the options. Chelsea were keen, but maybe cooling off now.
Reports suggest Chelsea are maybe looking elsewhere now, but you'd think other Prem clubs are still watching closely. Then you've got Victor Gyökeres at Sporting. Huge release clause there, 100 million.
Wow, that's massive. Who's pushing for him?
Arsenal are reportedly really keen, apparently made an opening bid around 75 million, maybe agreed personal terms. But Sporting are holding out for more, closer to that clause, and Chelsea are again mentioned as serious competitors.
So a potential bidding war brewing there. What about Benjamin Isco at RB Leipzig, another young striker getting a lot of attention?
Yeah, Chico's release clause is performance-related, maybe 70-80 million. The Premier League interest is widespread. Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Spurs, all linked. Liverpool, too.
Chelsea seriously considering him.
Reportedly, yes. And interestingly, Newcastle are also scouting him, perhaps as cover or replacement if Alexander Isak leaves.
Speaking of Isak, Newcastle seem determined to keep him. That 150 million rumored price tag is huge.
It sends a strong message, doesn't it? Seems to have cooled interest from Arsenal and Liverpool, reportedly. But Newcastle are looking at support or backup, Ishiko, Cunha, Mbeumo, even Liam Delap mentioned.
Okay, slightly different situation with Jonathan David at Lille. His contract's up in 2025, so potentially a free agent next summer. Very attractive now.
Hugely attractive. No transfer fee this summer, but the overall package wages, bonuses still estimated around 34 million. Lots of interest. Napoli reportedly met his agent. Juve, Inter, Barca, Premier League clubs.
He's got options then.
Yeah.
It really feels like one big striker move could set off a chain reaction.
Totally. A domino effect. If, say, Gyökeres goes to Arsenal, the clubs who missed out immediately pivot to target B or C, which then drives up their price. Could bring players like Højlund, Luka, Ekitike more into focus.
Yeah, the market dynamics are always fascinating. Okay, let's switch to midfield. Some massive names potentially on the move there, too. Kevin De Bruyne, contract up in 2025. City apparently not renewing. That's enormous news.
It really is. Seems City are moving on, even if De Bruyne himself might have been open to staying. Speculation is obviously rampant. Liverpool links seem cool now. Napoli, maybe. His wife was supposedly seen house hunting there.
Wow, Napoli would be something. What about MLS or Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, Chicago Fire in MLS are reportedly, really obsessed. Saudi interest is always there for players of his caliber. Lots of potential destinations.
Definitely one to watch.
Yeah.
And Nico Williams at Athletic Bilbao. Exciting winger, release clause around 58-60 million. Bayern have triggered it.
Reports say Bayern have activated the clause. Yeah, puts him in pole position. But Arsenal are apparently big admirers. He's a top target for their director. Chelsea see him as a dream target. Barca also keen.
So maybe not done yet. He wants it sorted by mid-July.
Seems so. High wage demands could be a factor, though. Might put some clubs off, even if they like the player.
Another midfielder constantly linked away is Martin Zubimendi at Real Sociedad. 60 million clause. Arsenal look very close on this one.
All the smoke signals point to Arsenal. Reports of a verbal agreement on a long-term deal. Fabrizio Romano's here we go.
Yeah.
Seems like Mikel Arteta's finally getting his man. Expected to be one of their first big signings.
Okay. Manchester United, Marcus Rashford linked with Barcelona. Seems complicated, though.
Very complicated. High wages, United's asking price. Pini Zahavi represents him, which always adds a layer. Barca might hope, but the financials look tough.
Speaking of Zahavi, he also represents Leroy Sané at Bayern. Contract also up in 2025. He was linked away previously, but now staying.
Looks like it. Reports suggest he's close to agreeing a new deal with Bayern. So that takes another top winger off the potential free agent list for 2025, which impacts clubs like Arsenal and Liverpool who were linked before.
Right, things change quickly. And Florian Wirtz at Leverkusen. Huge talent. Seems set on Bayern.
Yeah, all reports suggest Wirtz has his heart set on Bayern Munich over Real Madrid or City. Talk of a fundamental agreement in place, though that huge 50-meter fee report was apparently walked back. But his preference seems clear, narrows the options significantly.
It's striking how many top midfielders could have been free agents. De Bruyne, potentially Sané. Massive leverage for the players, right? No fee, but bigger wage demands.
Exactly. Clubs save the transfer fee, but then might face huge bidding wars on salary and bonuses. It forces tough choices about where to allocate the budget, big fee or big wages.
A real balancing act. Okay, let's look at defense. We mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold's reported move to Real Madrid. Massive free transfer coup, if true. Any other big defensive reshuffles expected?
Well, another Zahavi client, Jonathan Tah at Leverkusen. His contract is also up in 2025. Barcelona are interested, but again, finances are tricky for them. Man United and Newcastle are reportedly monitoring him too.
And Arsenal are trying to lock down William Saliba to fend off interest.
Seems so. Reports say they've started contract talks to extend his deal. Clearly want to keep him long-term, especially with Real Madrid reportedly seeing him as a top target. Maybe linked to the Alexander-Arnold situation, Real reinforcing elsewhere.
Makes sense. And quickly on goalkeepers, some potential movement there too. Bart Verbruggen at Brighton, a shock target for Real Madrid.
Yeah, an interesting one. Young keeper, highly rated, maybe seen as a long-term solution or competition for Courtois. Real are also reportedly looking at David Raya at Arsenal, shows they're actively assessing their options between the sticks.
And Man United. Onana wants to fight for his place, but the club might be looking at alternatives like Vanja Milinkovic-Savic from Serie A.
Yeah, suggestions are they're keeping their options open. Real Madrid's keeper search is interesting, though. Looking young with Verbruggen, more experience with Raya, perhaps, strategic choices.
Yeah, potential changes right across the pitch. It's a really interconnected market.
Yeah.
Now, just before we get to our final thoughts, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want to stay ahead of the game, please do follow us on YouTube Goated Clips channel. Loads more content like this over there.
Okay, so maybe let's zoom in on a couple of clubs, look at their overall strategy and key targets just to see how these pieces might fit together.
Good idea. Let's start with Arsenal. Sounds like a big summer ahead for them.
Looks that way. Talk of a major squad overhaul. Priorities seem to be center forward, left winger, central midfielder. Zubimendi looks close. Gyökeres and Chico are the striker targets mentioned most. Nico Williams on the wing. Even linked with Lee Kengan from PSG.
Busy. What about Liverpool? New manager, transition period.
Definitely transition. Replacing Alexander-Arnold is huge. Might need a striker if Nunez leaves. Salah and Van Dijk's contract situations are also key. Isak interest cooled. De Bruyne-Sané links feel speculative. Maybe looking at Milos Kerkez at left back, Jeremy Frimpong at right back. Strategy seems to be trading intelligently, finding players on the way up.
Makes sense. Manchester United also expecting a massive overhaul.
That's the word. Needs seem to be striker, keeper, winger. Kuna and Milinkovic-Savic linked. Chico was mentioned before. Jonathan Tah defensively. Potential big exits too. Rashford, Bruno maybe. Sancho expected to go.
Wow. Okay, across to Spain. Real Madrid under Xabi Alonso.
Big summer for them. Alonso's in. Alexander-Arnold seems done on a free. Goalkeepers Verbruggen and Raya shortlisted. Saliba defensively. Alonso apparently likes young defender Dean Huijsen too.
And Barcelona. Always interesting, given the finances.
Yeah, finances really constrain them. Rashford, interest is there, but complicated. Missed out on Williams and Zubimendi, it seems. Rafinha reportedly wants a renewal. Tough market for them.
Bayern Munich, they seem active.
Focus seems to be Wirtz agreement reported. Activated Nico Williams' clause, apparently. Sané looks like he's staying, busy shaping their attack.
You can really see the interconnectedness, can't you? Zubimendi to Arsenal affects Barca and Real. Financial issues for Barca open doors for others.
Exactly. One move triggers reactions elsewhere. It's a complex web.
Okay, let's circle back to that free agent frenzy. That list of players potentially available for nothing in 2025 is just staggering.
It really is. De Bruyne, Alexander-Arnold, though maybe already decided. Salah, Van Dijk, Jonathan David, Kimmich, Sané, though maybe not now, The list goes on. Calvert-Lewin, Eriksen, son, has an option. Alphonso Davies at Bayern, linked heavily with Real Madrid. It's unprecedented quality and quantity.
Incredible. So massive player power, right? They can pick and choose, demand big wages.
Huge leverage for the players. Clubs save the fee but face potentially massive wage packets and signing bonuses. It's a different kind of expense.
Does it make clubs hesitant to pay big fees for other players if there's a top free agent available in that position?
It could definitely influence decisions. Why pay €80 if a comparable player is free, even with higher wages? It magnifies the Bozeman effect. These aren't just squad players. They're potential game changers. Puts huge pressure on clubs to renew their own stars early.
Like Liverpool tried with Trent. It's that paradox, again, a buyer's market for free agents maybe, but still a seller's market for those few elite strikers everyone wants.
That sums it up perfectly. Clubs face tough strategic calls. Blow the budget on one striker fee or spread it across wages for multiple top free agents. Finding value is key.
And quickly, the influencers behind the scenes. Agents like Pini Zahavi seem central this summer.
He's got a huge hand play. Rashford and Kunku, Sané, though maybe staying. His negotiations will really shape where some big names land.
And managerial changes. Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid is the big one.
Yeah, Alonso's arrival will reshape Real's targets. New managers bring new ideas, maybe target players they know or who fit their system. Alonso liking Huijsen is an example. Other changes, like potentially at Spurs or Leverkusen, if Alonso leaving causes ripples, also impact things.
So new managers, agent relationships, it all feeds into the complexity.
Definitely. It's not just about player talent, it's about relationship strategy, timing.
So bring it all together. Summer 2025 looks set to be genuinely unpredictable, potentially transformative. That mix of the early CWC window, the massive free agent class, the striker scramble, financial pressures, manager changes, agent influence, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah, the potential for a real shift in the balance of power across Europe is definitely there. The clubs that navigate this complexity smartly, find value, pick their battles, they'll be the winners.
And that fascinating split buyer's market for free agents, seller's market for strikers, forces those compelling strategic choices. It's going to be absolutely brilliant to watch unfold.
Couldn't agree more. A captivating summer ahead.
So as you can see, the summer 2025 transfer window is shaping up to be anything but quiet. The unique confluence of the Club World Cup, the sheer number of top free agents, and the pressing needs of Europe's giants guarantees a period of intense activity and plenty of surprises.
Think about this. With so many players potentially on the move, how will the established hierarchies in European football be challenged? Will the early business of the Club World Cup participants give them a lasting advantage? And which under-the-radar move might end up being the most impactful of them all?
We hope this deep dive has given you a clearer picture of the landscape. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube Goated Clips channel for more of this kind of analysis.
Thank you for tuning in to the Goated Clips channel.